Thank you, Chair. And first of all, I'd like to thank the Labour Party for not only introducing the motion today, but giving us the opportunity to have this very important debate. And while there might be some minor differences on the details of the policy proposals, we're more than happy to support the motion. Minister Noonan, I don't know where to start. At an earlier stage in this Oireachtas, I was one of many of us on the opposition benches who would have given you the benefit of the doubt, who would have said that you're a decent person, that you mean well, but what you're saying just isn't true. But even you don't believe the things that you read out in the speech today, and the fact that you could hardly make eye contact with any of us as you read that demonstrates that you don't believe the script you have been given. You said that substantial progress has been made, so let me just describe that substantial progress. This government has been in office for 2.5 years. That's half of your term of office if you go full term. And things have never been worse. House prices are higher than they have ever been before, and they're continuing to rise. And yes, private sector output exceeded its expectations last year, but in the last quarter of the year, commencements are down, and it's unlikely that we'll see much progress this year. Rents have never been as high and are still rising, and for 6 years in a row, the private rental sector is contracting, and there is no action and no plan from this government to address any of that. Only this week, the Minister for Housing launched yet another glossy brochure. 33 pages issued very late in the evening, telling us all of the progress in Q4 of last year, except two crucial things. No update on social housing targets for 2022, and no update on affordable housing delivery. At least for all his sins, Eoin Murphy, when he published his quarterly updates, he did it in front of committee, he published the figures, and he put himself in front of us for questions, something Darragh O'Brien studiously avoids to do. But when we get the figures, we will know, first of all, Minister Noonan, it will not be the case that you exceeded the historic high of social housing output of 1975, 8,800 real social homes added to the stock. At the very most, you will hit 7,500, according to the Minister. According to Deeper, it will be 6,500, I suspect somewhere between the two, but far off the highest number of real social houses in the last 50 years. And with respect to affordable housing, it actually looks like you might not have delivered a single affordable purchase home last year. In my own constituency, some were lying vacant since August, but because the department couldn't sort out conveyancing and legal issues with the banks, they weren't actually purchased until the start of this year. And the cost rental scheme is in crisis. It won't have met its targets last year, nor will it this year. And with respect to homelessness, not only have we the highest levels of official homelessness, but all other categories of homelessness have gone through the roof. In fact, we have about 18,000 men, women and children in various forms of emergency accommodation funded by various government departments, or none at all, not even mentioning the rough sleepers. And the fact that homelessness is increasing at the time in which government has introduced a ban on evictions, I think should send alarm bells ringing like never before, and we know the reasons why. We're not getting a consistent approach for the tenant in situ scheme. We haven't had the circular from the Minister to the local authorities insisting on a presumption to buy that I called for last year. We're not seeing the tenant in situ scheme extended to cost rentals so that residents, for example, in properties like Tatney Homes could avoid eviction. And crucially, we're not getting the emergency response from government, mobilising emergency powers of planning, suspending procurement and using new building technologies to increase and accelerate additional social housing units during the period of the ban. And worst of all, again, Eoin Murphy was no great housing minister, but at least when he had a ban on evictions, it was also a ban on notices to quit. You couldn't even do that. So not only will there be a cliff edge come the 1st of April for the notices in the system, but the fact that landlords have been able to continue to issue no-fault evictions during that period means the cliff edge will be deeper and more dangerous for thousands and thousands of others. So, Minister, we need an emergency intervention. We need the kind of measures outlined in this motion, including the extension of the ban on evictions. But crucially, we need increased and accelerated delivery of social housing, because if we don't have that, and if we don't have it quickly, we'll be looking at official homeless figures of 12,000 or 13,000, let alone all of these other people that you refuse to count and acknowledge in government figures. So I have to say, in conclusion, Minister, it is time for Darragh O'Brien to spend less time launching glossy brochures that tell us nothing, tinkering around at the edges with existing schemes and avoiding Oireachtas scrutiny in this chamber, in our committee, and accept your plan is failing and accept we need a change of approach. Without that, things will not only not get better, they will get much, much worse.